But he was so fantastic because the first thing I walked in for my audition, I was really nervous. I knocked on the door and Danny Boyle opened the door and said, "Welcome, Freida." And I was like, the director just opened the door for me, you know? And he's so down to earth. He completely put me at ease. And he gives you that kind of independence to play around with your character. But at the same time, if you're going off track, he'll be right there to bring you back into, you know, the scene. And he's really passionate about what he does. So even after a long day's work prior to the day that he's coming, he's going to bring in the same amount of energy, the same amount of passion. And when you see a director putting in so much, you don't want to hold back. You want to give it more, more and more. So definitely, he's been the most. For someone to put in all his trust into and take this big risk with newcomers, I mean, really, we literally owe. It was a 22-hour-long flight.
That's you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
It's been great, actually. We started last year not knowing what was going to happen to the film. Didn't expect this kind of an acceptance and reception in North America, so it's been great, brilliant. The fact that we were working with Danny Boyle actually was special enough. All of this comes in much later. In fact, I remember receiving an email from Danny saying that, you know, Freida, you cannot really sign the seal the fate of a film before its release. So just know that you've done a good job and be happy with that. So that's the best advice you could give me. Absolutely true, because I was just finishing my travel show last year and I was like, my life's over, nothing else to do, and then Slumdog happened, so, you know, destiny. No, actually, last year in 2007, we were just shooting this really special film written by Simon Beaufoy and directed by Danny Boyle, but none of this. Can't believe what just happened to us. Right. It's almost like an inescapable part of the Indian culture. You have all these festivals and people just jump onto the streets, tear their shirts off and start dancing, so it's pretty crazy.
Well, to be very honest, my biggest inspiration that actually changed compelled me to want to become an actress was watching Charlize Theron in Monster, and I've said this so many times, and I'll say it over and over again, but I think for an actor to completely transform themselves and become something that they so are not is really inspirational, and it's a lot of hard work. I remember just walked in very jet-lagged into one of my auditions and completely messed it up. I couldn't remember my lines. I don't know, I sleepwalked to that one.
It hasn't really sunk in, to be really honest, when it all began in the month of September with the Toronto Film Festival and before that with Telluride. And we had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. We were just really curious to know what the film looked like. That was it. So when it hits you, it just hits you so fast that you don't have time to just step back and say, oh my God, this is happening. So it's just, and that's been happening ever since September. I think the film would have been much longer if we had the chance to just go on for like 3 to 4 hours, because there's so much that you can actually capture and you want people to see, but obviously the attention span is also taken into consideration, and then you have to keep it shorter. But yeah, when you read the script, you know there's a lot happening, but then coming from Mumbai, I know that is the way it's supposed to be, with a lot happening at the same time, and Danny Boyle captures it beautifully. I always wanted to be an actor, so the fact that I was into modeling, I knew it was just going to be a very short shelf life kind of a thing for me, and I knew I had to make the transition at some point in time, and so which is why when I got the offer to audition and to play this part, it just seemed like the most right thing to do. I think I've been driven all this while by people, so I've kind of taken it easy.
Right.
But I've had a bad experience actually in Bombay. Have you ever been to India? There are rules. Okay, let's not say that. There are rules, but no one follows them, because if you want to get somewhere, you don't follow the rules. No, it's just that people don't follow them, because if you want to get somewhere in time, you've been to India, so you know how crazy it is. So I guess it's justified why I don't drive, right? I'm terrified. I just have had a bad experience growing up. I was driving and I almost killed a cyclist, and my friend had to pull the handbrake, so I don't want to be doing that to any of your audience members. Right, I mean, that is true. It's kind of like the blessing and the curse. You get to choose these amazing projects that you can be part of, but then you also have, it's kind of like a package deal, unfortunately. And there was just when the film came out and we were doing press for it in London, I remember being at the tube station. And I also had this kind of personal event that took place in my life, and I'd just broken up with my boyfriend. It was really traumatic because the press got to know of it. And I jumped out of the train, and very happily, this guy comes up to me and says, oh my God, you're Latika from Slumdog. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I was so happy to get recognized. The next thing he says, like, oh, so you are the dump dog millionaire. And I was like, what? Because then I got to know that one of the newspapers kind of called me the dump dog millionaire because apparently I dumped my boyfriend. But for having me here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for...
No, so much for having me could mean all kinds of things in the context that you wanted.
True, especially here on the couch.
Yes, on this couch.
Exactly. Thank you for having me here.
On the couch. Yeah. How does it feel?
Well, it feels great. I know this is a really cool show and I watch it even when I'm not in India on YouTube. Right. So I'm really, really happy that I can have this little, kind of chit-chat with you. And kind of get into trouble.
Now, our next guest tonight has a kind of a reverse story to yours. While you went from here all the way there, she actually came from there all the way here. You know Nargis?
Yes, I do.
Yes?
I met her for the first time today. Well, I kind of have done it.
Yeah, that's why I said like to do in a video.
Well, depends on the script.
If you wrote a matrimonial ad for yourself, what would it say?
Will be willing to marry anybody who's not looking for a fair, light-eyed virgin. They put that in there. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Men find Freida Pinto sexy because?
Maybe because I am.
Okay.
I don't think I'm a huge international star, but I'm part of a huge film, and that feels really special. And I guess that's the biggest blessing, being part of a film that has touched so many hearts. And that's my co-star.
Hello.
Who's always butting in.
You can answer for me and I'll answer
Okay,
for you.
he wants to be Jim Carrey or Will Smith, or Jim Carrey and Will Smith. Yeah, thank you. And it's been wonderful just sharing this entire journey with each other because we've learned so much about each other and how we can just stare off each other's hair.
And now we've got
I actually picked this dress 3 weeks back when I came in for the SAG, and I found this dress and I was like, this is my Oscar dress. So I hid it and I told everyone I don't know what I'm wearing because I obviously didn't want everyone to know what I was wearing, but this is a very special dress. I've loved it since then.